It's your girl, The Nutshell, back with another Love Island Season 2 review. Before I start things off, let me just give a big shout out to Matthew Hoffman, who is the narrator of the show. Every single time I do a review, I've been meaning to mention him, and somehow I keep forgetting. And honestly, this whole experience has been so enjoyable for me. There's never a dull moment. I know I've been like, yes, the cast is the hottest crew that I've ever seen in the entire franchise. And honestly, the narrators of both the UK and US are just like dope. I was used to the UK one, but this American one never leaves a dull moment with his corny jokes, his silly tongue twisters, and his like dead on one liners. So let me just put out there and then let's get to it, shall we? So, how the last episode ended was basically Johnny was planning to propose, and I put in quotes, to Cely. He was about to ask her, make this grand gesture to ask her to be his girlfriend. These are my thoughts and feelings. Before I get to that, I should say like boy Johnny boy has brought a lot of controversy since Casa Amor. And even before Casa Amor, honestly, like for me, honestly, I feel like social media done messed me up because I'm trying to be objective. I'm trying not to listen to outside, like, stories, voices, about the whole Love Island US this season, and also what is happening in the outside world and their dramas, from before they got to the villa. But I couldn't help myself, and I ended up stumbling on information about Johnny from two places. The first one was an ET interview from Gigi, because I know I butcher her name, Janelle, I think, Janelle Faith Tyrell. Faith of House Tyrell and Mercedes. And I'm just like, oh my gosh, I listened to the whole interview and it gave me so much insight. And a lot of things that were said there, honestly, were some of the things that I've also said in my previous video. And I should mention that I just heard, I watched that interview today, because I was just like, since I don't have a bunch of recaps to do, why don't I just indulge myself? And honestly, y'all, I should have just waited until the whole season was over, because my G's, man, it's just so juicy. It's juicy information. So let me cut you up in case you haven't listened to that interview. And if you haven't, please listen to it, and you can have whatever thoughts you want to have. But basically, Mercedes said, and the girls backed her up, that Johnny was very possessive of her. It's like he tagged her as the go-to girl for him at Casa Amor. Like, it was kind of the vibe that they gave was that Johnny, while he was at Casa Amor, intended to have fun. It wasn't just like, basically it was premeditated that he was going to wild out. And whatever, for whatever reason he had a change of heart, is going to be his reason. But basically, I think that's just the one liner that I'm going to drop. And like, the girls were just talking about how they had different what they ended up doing in Casa Amor was so different from what they had planned to do from the get. And I actually wish that they had done what they wanted to do, but like, quarantine got people behaving different out here in these streets. They see people of the opposite sex or people that they're attracted to, and they just lose their little minds. So what I liked from them was that they said Connor was a gentleman, but I loved the fact that Gigi said that he was responsible for the mess that was him and Mackenzie. People said that Carrington, what you see is not what you get. He's an actual nice guy, and he's actually very interesting to get to know, and he's surprisingly deep. And I've been saying those things before. Um, and then in that conversation, there was like a drop of the fact that Johnny's ex girlfriend had been dropping like some saucy deets on TikTok about their relationship, about like how Johnny is as a person and all that. And I'm just like, it didn't even feel malicious. It just felt like somebody kind of opening the people's eyes about who Johnny is. So for you guys to know all the deets, like just watch it. And the reason why I'm not going into details about that is because, like I said, I'm trying to maintain objectivity. But if you want to know the truth, go straight to the source. Let this not be hearsay. So for me, that obviously skewed my perspective on Johnny and the whole relation, like the whole proposal. It has me second guessing every single thing that he has with Cely, right? And even before I heard all this, I said, like, just his, first of all, the red flags that were popping up when Benny came in and when she went out on her date, how he reacted, and the whole way he handled the whole Twitter challenge, not being forthcoming about being truthful, whether it hurt or not. All those things like just made me feel like, you know what, I can't even take this grand gesture seriously. I think, yes, Sally needed it, but did she need it from Johnny? No. No, no, no. And for me, if I were her friend, I'd just be completely mistrustful of him and completely on guard and protective of Sally about Johnny. And that's all I'm going to say. I think Sally's a great girl. And I think she deserves like love, and I honestly wanted Benny to be there for her. I was rooting for Johnny and Sally, yes, but that was way before all the sketchy stuff started popping off and the red flags started showing. So that's what happened. And like I asked the question at the end of yesterday's recap, do you think that the girls want like a relationship, or to make things official with their partners in the villa? And as the episode unfolded, you could see that, yeah, most of the girls are kind of hinting about that, specifically Moira. Anywho, I won't get into Moira right now because, as you guys always know, my charge is always dying. Be it on my phone, be it on my camera, be it on my laptop. Like, I got problems, but I'm gonna deliver. Perseverance, y'all. Endurance in the face of obstacles. So, I wasn't really wholeheartedly invested in that grand gesture, just because in my mind, I feel like they're gonna break up and it's gonna be Johnny's fault. And I can see heartbreak in Sally's future with Johnny, but I hope she slides into Benny's DMs, or Benny slides into his DMs if he hasn't gotten a girl already. That's just where I'm at right now. So after that, Justine and Caleb, y'all know the melanin be popping. The black love be winning for me. And it's not just because they're black, but it's more so the fact that it's genuine love between black people, and that isn't showcased like on mainstream shows. Let's just be honest. So I really love this, and I am team Jaleb all the way. I think definitely, for me, I think they're already winning because they found love. They don't need the money, but I would want them to win the show. I think they deserve to win the show. I don't think any of them has duped the public, duped anyone in the house. I think they've brought the energies in the villa high. I think they've been good friends to the people in the villa. I think Justine has delivered, like, in terms of like her confessionals, they've always been on point. In terms of the challenge, she's always been 100% in there. She's given everything, and Caleb sets people straight. He always sets Johnny straight, whether it's teasing or whether it's being straight up to his face. So I mean, a good man. Where can you find a good man and a good woman, y'all? Like, psh, they deserve to win. So, if any of you guys are out there voting, please just vote them. to be the Love Island winners. That's just where I stand. Cely, I think Cely is just a great girl. She's gonna win in life. So they have a conversation, J-Love, that is about insecurities that Justine has had from her previous relationship and how she wants to move on and put her walls down and like keep that baggage in the trash where it belongs and to start afresh with Caleb and give him the love and affection that he needs. And I'm like, damn, a man who can help you grow or a woman that can help you grow is a whole everything. And that's what part of the reason why I'm so team Justine and Caleb. Let me tell you, these guys have been bringing it with their challenges. They had a I don't know what this challenge, the name is. I've forgotten, y'all. I have like memory fog. Not great for doing recaps, is it? Anyway, they had this whole challenge where the guys were supposed to like, they were dressed up in construction, like, gear, and they were doing like dances and I don't even know how to explain it. First, they have to like walk across like a scaffold and then they have to break through a wall with a wrecking ball and then they have to grab a girl of their choice and like walk through some cement and get through to the other side where they would like douse themselves in water, like, and they're supposed to make it look all sexy, and they did not disappoint. Oh, and then after all that, they were supposed to share a passionate kiss with a girl that they chose. Like, damn, 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 it was hot. So moments of contention there were with okay, so what I'm gonna do, because I'm trying to make my life better, is I am going to charge my phone right now. Okay, so it's called Men at Work Challenge. So I'm gonna put this thing on mute and do a voiceover so you guys can have my live reaction, but audio version. All right, so without further ado, let's get to it. Okay, so that's them doing their little slow-mo thing, right? So let's get to the main thing. So it's called Men at Work. Actually, you know what? I'm actually going to put the volume on because some people had like funny one-liners and I don't want you guys to miss it out. Damn, that's Lakin. You can literally cut the tension in the air with a knife. Okay, there you have it. That was the whole thing. And for me, honestly, like I blanked out when Johnny came in just because I'm just like this a bunch of. And when honestly, I'm going to call out Kayla because he was just like, "Oh, it's just a challenge," and I'm like, "Boy, bye, miss me with all that BS," because everybody knows that at this point in time, like you have no business kissing somebody else if you are coupled up with someone and you have feelings for them, and that it's known that your partner has feelings, and it's just shady. And for me, not shady of him to say that, it's shady of Carrington to do that in the name of a challenge. Like, boy, bye. You and Caleb can go and sip some mimosas under a shady tree because that's what y'all are both being. So we move on. But there was vindication because Bennett brought it. I'm like, yes, oh yeah, please steal her, please take her. Because I wasn't mad at that because earlier on in the episode, Kirsten was in the bathroom crying, and Caleb was like, "Everything okay? What's going on with you?" And then, "Oh, I'm just crying over somebody that I'm still caught up over." And I'm like, "Girl, bye. Like, go home at this point. Go home." I also wanted to point out something that I saw in this episode, that Kirsten is friends with what's her name, Laurel. And I'm like, are they friends because they genuinely have a connection and they're vibing off each other, or are they trying to bond over Carrington? Why is this important? Because it's like, I am not trying to encourage friendships out of like heartbreak if that is where they stop. You're supposed to build each other and not be in a situation where it's misery loves company. Like you're just going to bond over to together to trash talk um Carrington eventually in the future, which is toxic. Or are you going to console each other and build each other up and help each other move on? So, and I can't put that on Laurel because this is like a fresh heartbreak, like fresher than Kirsten. I put it on Kirsten because she's not helping her girl move on. And every time Laurel is kind of talking about her current situation, like Kirsten hops in to talk about, oh, I went through this too. And it's like, chick, it's not about you right now. Okay, it's not about you right now. You had your chance with the other girls and it was your time. So Laurel needs somebody who um will let her grieve in her time presently, right? Instead of like just kind of like shortening that process for her. If what I'm saying makes sense. I'm seeing a trend with Carrington. Carrington did the same thing to Kirsten with Lauren, and he's doing the same thing to Laurel with Lakin. And I'm like, I'm not mad at the new girls at all, but Lauren, too many L's up in this piece. Lauren, the British chick, was very spot on when she said that a bunch of people are in fake relationships. And at first I was just like, maybe she's like hitting hard at the girls, but it's the boys really who are at fault here because they were telling her different things and then like saying, oh yeah, my head's not turning, and then their heads obviously turned. Like eventually the truth will come to bite you in the butt. I'm not mad because again, this is Love Island. I just wish that they could be straight up, and this is what differentiates boys from men. And I don't mean to say that in a jabbing way. I just mean level of maturity clearly is not there, but they're youngins, so it's to be expected. So further on, of course, after this whole challenge, Laurel is pissed, has a conversation with Carrington, and basically he's just like, I'm just doing the same thing that you wanted to do with Calvin. You wanted to get to know him. And I'm like, my G, first of all, stand in the decisions that you make without comparing anything. For me, I feel like that's a tad bit childish. It's like when you know that you can't win in a disagreement, and so you throw another person's like fault. Basically, it's just like throwing mud at each other. You don't come out looking clean. And two, Laurel was very, her approach to the whole Calvin thing, she proceeded with caution, and she kept him in mind the entire time. She didn't jump the gun with Calvin. And every time they talked, it was a very decent conversation. And most of the time their conversation was more so about Carrington, and it wasn't in his face. Like, you know, Carrington is using the excuse of this challenge, as all these guys do, speaking about you, Johnny, as excuses to explore things in a physical manner, aka kissing or just behaving in a sexual way towards somebody that they're physically attracted to in front of their partners. And that's the part that boggles the mind. And they expect their partners to be okay. Like, how does this make sense? Make it make sense, bro. Make it make sense. So for me, I can't stand behind someone who moves like that. It's like super sketchy. Like they don't want to be held accountable for their actions. And then so she's like she's pissed right off, and like she's rolling her eyes and she's huffing and puffing, and then he gets up and it's like, listen, I can't have a conversation with you if you're behaving like that. And I'm like, bro, bounce then. For me, if I'm livid and I'm justifiably reacting like that, be it childish or not, like, my G, you can get the step in. But the way the conversation ended, like, I thought she was going to go in it with a spine and be like, it's over, I'm breaking things off. But you're just like, okay, 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 Carrington, whatever. And it's like, that still leaves the door open. It's like, fine, that means, in my mind, the interpretation that I'm getting is like, I'm going to walk all over you. You're going to be mad. I'm going to understand that you're mad, but you're not doing anything about it. You're not setting any boundaries. Um, there's no resolution about this. So I can do whatever I want. Basically, you've painted a gray canvas for the dude where he's going to do whatever he wants to do and he's not going to feel bad about it just because you said, okay, you weren't clear. You should have said, okay, it's over. I'm not down for this, or I don't want you talking to that girl. Like, you make a choice, but she can't do that. So it's going to be something that lasts for a long time. And honestly, I mean, I'm not here. I'm not I don't want to watch two girls crying over one boy. Like, it's a waste of time for me and it's a waste of time for them. I guess having gone through heartbreak and gone through such things, oh, in my mind, it like makes me upset because it gives me deja vu of things that I've gone through. So, of course, my opinion and my advice may come off harsh, but sometimes you need someone to crack the whip because, like, my G, you're acting like you're out of your mind. Like there's no common sense floating through here. So you need someone to just give you tough love, and that person should be rooting for you. I am rooting for these girls, right? To find their inner strong woman and to just bounce. Sometimes some people need to realize that they are a whole everything, as the Mercedes says it. So these girls are a whole everything, but the way they are behaving needs needs to get leveled up. Okay, like, how many times have our hearts been broken? How many times have we been with these F boys, right? So many times. When are we gonna wake up and smell the coffee and realize that we are whole everything and get ourselves together? No one can do that for you, so you better do it for yourselves. And yeah, so for me, my hope is that they wake up, smell the coffee, move the hell on. That's just my thought, and I'm not gonna dwell on it. What else? So basically, Carrington cracks on with Laken and is like, yeah, I'm totally feeling you. Laken was like, yeah, you're my number one. Basically, they're gonna choose each other. That's just where it is. And then it ends with, of course, what's her name, crying, Laurel crying about the fact that she wishes that Carrington didn't bring her into the villa because she's just getting tortured being there, basically. And it's time for her to leave. So, other people who have conversations are Kirsten and Bennett. Why was I going to call him Benedict? Bennett. And he was explaining to her why he chose Laurel. And he said he just wanted to kind of make her feel jealous. He wanted to create a situation where she would want to pounce on him and kind of affirm and reassure him that they still had a thing, because he doesn't feel that there's like any affection that she's giving him anymore. So she's just like, you know what, like, I'm glad that you did that, because it made me realize, for lack of a better word, that I was relieved that you hadn't chosen me, and there's nothing there. But she was kind of catty when she asked him why he thought it was a good idea to do that. And for me, I just felt like it was kind of hypocritical, because she was doing the same thing Carrington did to her by distancing herself and icing him. And then she has the audacity to say that she's not playing games. Then, if you initially knew that's how you felt, like you got the ick, why didn't you tell him beforehand? Why did he have to do this whole extreme thing just to get your attention? Point number two, you see, let me just compare between men and women. How Bennett went about getting Kirsten's attention and how Laurel is going about getting Carrington's respect and affection is very different. And here's the thing about guys. Guys are going to like assert themselves and make themselves feel valued by sometimes making controversial decisions, right? Chicks, on the other hand, when they're lacking something from someone, they devolve into like, they spiral into depression, into anxiety, into low self esteem. And here's the thing, that's why sometimes, and I know it's very superficial, this is why guys bounce back much more faster, because they do things, moves, whether they're right or wrong, that builds their confidence. Whether it's to make you jealous or not, that's how they get over chicks quickly. Girls dwell and mope and do all these crazy things before they finally get over a guy. And I'm like, as chicks, I think that's something that we need to change. We might not necessarily need to hop from guy to guy and swap spit, but do things that build your confidence. And I know we talk about like going to the gym, working out, looking fly and feeling fly. And that's how you make your guy feel jealous. And for me, I think that's a much better alternative to dealing with heartbreak than what comes naturally to us. So how this episode ended, obviously, is what's her name, Justine and Caleb kind of reaffirming each other. And I love the conversation that they had about like